The thoroughbred, the product of centuries of selective and judicious breeding, swiftest of the equines. The result of scrupulously planned parenthood or backyard mating. At birth with uncertain legs almost as long as they'll be at full growth, unsure, struggling, quite in contrast to the flowing grace and form which maturity will bring. The new foal carries an inherent will to run, and with it an owner's dream of champions past. Man of War, Citation, Secretariat, Seattle Slew, Spectacular Bid. An animal of beauty, nobility, courage, and spirit, the thoroughbred is a creature of habit. Thus, lessons learned early in training, either well or poorly, are never forgotten, and ultimately translate as the difference between victory and defeat. Hollywood Park, Inglewood, California. It's a beautiful day in Southern California for the inaugural Breeders' Cup, the biggest day in thoroughbred racing history, and a large crowd featuring many of the world's most famous faces here to witness and enjoy. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with Dave Johnson. Welcome aboard. What a day we have ahead for you. 7 races, $10 million. Until 1981, there had never been a $1 million race. We have 7 this afternoon, climaxed by the Breeders' Classic worth $3 million.
It is the most extraordinary day in the history of the sport. It's like having all 7 games of a World Series on a single afternoon, and we have something for everyone. We have the young stars, the 2-year-olds. We have the old-timers. We have sprinters and marathon races. We have races on the turf and on the dirt, and it's just like the Super Bowl of racing, Dave.
Well, you sound like you're ready for the kickoff. You're ready. Indeed, many aspects are at stake today. Horse of the Year honors. Also, there's the Jockey and Trainer Awards. And we might point out, too, going back to the Super Bowl, to get there, you have to be healthy, and there's another story.
We almost lost Slew of Gold, the big star of the big classic race this afternoon. He had quarter cracks in his hoof. We'll go into that story a little bit later in depth. But he breezed yesterday morning with a fiberglass patch on his hoof. He's okay, and he's the favorite for the big race this afternoon.
John Henry, unfortunately, will not race today, but he's going to be watching, they say, back in the stable area on television, and he'll be seeing some of the outstanding race commentators in all of the country. Here's who you're going to be listening to today. Michael O'Hare and Bruff Scott. They'll give you the international aspect. Sharon Smith is in the paddock area, and Tom Hammond in the stable. Robin Smith, in case anything happens on the track, she's on horseback to bring you that report. Tom Durkin, one of the nation's great race callers, will bring you all the excitement of all 7 races, and we have some experts as well. Nice to eavesdrop. Maybe pick up a tip or two for the $2 better. Our odd couple down below, Pete Axelm and Harvey Pack.
Thank you, Dick. As I often like to remind you and everyone else, we wouldn't be talking about all these wonderful millions of dollars today if it weren't for the people who go to the track week in and week out around the country to bet their deuces or their hundreds, their perfectas or their trifectas to contribute to the game. I'm proud to have with me a man who has lost bets in every one of those categories and probably will again today. Harvey Pack.
I'm happy to have contributed to the greatest sport in the world and to be here today, and maybe you and I can show people why we keep coming back and love every minute of horse racing.
It's spelled fun. Now, let's go to the paddock. An Eclipse Award winner, Sharon Smith.
Well, Pete, the 2-year-old colts and geldings have now left the paddock, a remarkably well-behaved group. If you see them sweating a little bit in the post-parade, it's not because they're upset. They were just outstanding in the paddock. It's a hot and humid day, so it is time now for the post-parade. Let's go to Dave Johnson.
And here's the first horse from the Midwest, Proudest Hour. This could be his proudest hour. Not a bad-looking horse, and he's only lost a couple. He has 4 wins in his career, and Pat Day rides. Secretary General, the rookie in this field, is number 2. He's never been this far. far. This race is a mile. He's only had 2 races. One of the long shots. He's by Kentucky Derby winner Foolish Pleasure. Spend a Buck has 5 wins in 7 starts. He lost his last race at the Young American, and that when he jumped the tracks of a starting gate, that cost him a length or 2. Let's see what happens today. Cordero rides. Number 4 is Tank's Prospect, the horse who's just learning how to be a good racehorse. Got a good teacher, his trainer D. Wayne Lucas. In the Young America, he was in heavy traffic. So let's take a look now at the favorite for this, the first race, sponsored by First Jersey Securities. Here's Chief's Crown, 5-time winner this year, 3 of them in Grade 1 events. He runs up close to the pace, and that's going to be good on a race like this. And the jockey is Don Macbeth, the only man of the day. Here's Concert Hall, an impossible task for this one. He's going to be racing on the dirt for the very first time. He has 5 races, all in Ireland, on the grass, and very tough to race on the dirt now after that kind of footing over there. Here is number 7, Dauphine Fabuleux from Canada, the only Canadian bred in the race. 5 wins in 6 starts. Jeff Fell, who knows this horse well. Jeff played hockey when he was a youngster. He's been aboard for all 5 of those victories. Script Ohio, from last to first winner of the Young America, but it's going to be very difficult with this long stretch and with this track which favors speed horses. Bionic Light is number 9, and there he is on the screen now. A lot of early foot, but he's been beaten by other horses in this race. Pat Valenzuela at age 22 is the rider. And the big question mark in the field is Spectacular Love. He won the Belmont Futurity in September, but finished 5th in a bad effort, beaten 24 lengths in his last start. He's been training very well, though, and he has Lafitte Pinkai Jr. aboard.
All right, catch a deep breath, Dave Johnson. Let's look at the morning line for this 2-year-old 1-mile juvenile. Proudest Hour at 20-1. Secretary General 4-1. Spend a Buck in with a $120,000 supplemental fee at 6-1. Tank's Prospect 20-1. Chief's Crown at even money on the morning line. Number 6 Concert Hall at 30-1. Dauphine Fabuleux 12-1. Script Ohio 30-1 is his Bionic Light, and Spectacular Love the second choice at 4-1. So Chief's Crown, winner of 5 of his last 6 races, the solid favorite in this $1 million preview of next year's Derby Colts. Gene Klein entry of Fiesta Lady and Totalating second.
NBC Sports proudly presents the inaugural running of the Breeders' Cup.
Welcome back to Hollywood Park, awaiting the first of 7 $1 million races. A big crowd, including many of the biggest entertainment stars in the first race. The Juvenile features 10 top 2-year-olds at a mile on the main track. Purse of $1 million. The winner earns $500,000. The current odds, Dave?
Well, they're taking the number 5 horse. The favorite was started at even money, is now bet down to 4-5. From top to bottom, Proudest Hour is at 30. Secretary General, who started at 4-1 here, is now up to 12. Spend a Buck getting a lot of attention at 6. Tank's Prospect is a big 23-1. Chief's Crown is 4-5. The favorite, as we mentioned. Concert Hall, the European horse facing the impossible task, is 35. Dauphine Fabuleux is at 13. Script Ohio, that's the number 8 horse, and that's 15-1. 45 5-1 for Pat Valenzuela's mount Bionic Light, and Spectacular Love is getting good betting here, 5-1. But this horse, I guess one of the reasons is that he's beaten Chief's Crown and he's training very well.
Unfortunately, Saratoga 6, broken leg, not in this race, might have been the favorite. A great celebration of racing, not without its heartbreak and bitter disappointment, but there is nevertheless a serious title contender.
The hopes of the East can go down in the first race of the day. If Chief's Crown loses, we go home in a freight train, Pete.
An experience which is certainly not foreign to you, Harv. And I know many of your simplistic fellow New York handicappers are going for Chief's Crown. He is a fine horse. He'll be odds on. But funny thing, a lot of breeders don't agree. They're having a lot of trouble selling syndicate shares in this colt. Today could be pivotal for that effort. Of course, the New York chauvinist bettors don't appreciate horses that summer in the heat of Calder Racecourse in Miami, struggling along on the artificial turf to learn their lessons. But Spendabuck did it, and when he went out of town, a funny thing happened. He didn't cool off a bit. Stayed pretty hot, Harv.
Yep, but they're spending a lot of bucks to run him. $120,000 they're putting up against Chief's Crown. They got a lot of confidence in their horse.
And of course, so does John Veach, the trainer of Script Ohio. Veach, one of the most bubbling personalities in racing, always thinks he has a shot. Script Ohio, well, he's a long shot today, but As viewers may have already guessed, Harvey and I both have a special interest in rooting for John Veach. You'll know when you see him, he doesn't have a hair on his head.
But he has script Ohio. I don't blame him for bringing him out. He only lost by 18 for Chiefs Crown. Well worth the trip.
There's our idol, John Veach. I noticed the script Ohio, by the way, broke off very well in the post parade. Think he looks good. You know, for you, those of you who are joining us for the first time in racing, when there's a lot of speed in a race, favors come from behind. There are 5 speed horses here. 3 come from behind. Script Ohio, Tanks Prospect, and the boss, Chiefs Crown.
Chiefs Crown likes to circle horses. He'll be close to the pace. He's done everything right. I'm looking for him to do everything right today.
Are you going to bet on him, though, at 3 to 5?
Can't bet him. Hardly a man is now alive paid a mortgage at 3 to 5.
Approaching the starting gate, 1 mile for the first $1 million purse. Of course, we'll be climaxing the 6th race is worth $2 million in the grass, and then the Classic at $3 million will wind up this tremendous day at Hollywood Park, the first Breeders' Cup.
We might say we don't have a track record because this is a new track. It's an expanded track. So we, of course, just don't have enough races run over it to establish it. And the track record will probably be at the end of this season. But these are going to be real fast times this afternoon.
Indeed, the home stretch now the 2nd longest in the United States, as they have lengthened it now over 1,300 feet, 1,300 feet, and there's the turf finish line, and used to be the dirt finish line there in front of us, and then it goes on down, and some of the jockeys have had some trouble with it.
That's right. There's a new finish line now, and of course Tom's at the right finish line now to call it for us.
And here he is, Tom Durkin, upstairs.
All right, we've got 2 more horses to load in the gate. We're waiting for Bionic Light and Spectacular Love. They're in the gate. They're off. Bionic Light shows first on the outside. Spectacular Love is moving right with them. There goes Proudest Hour now, charging up on the inside. Secretary General is also out fast, and in between horses, it's Spend a Buck. A battle for the early lead as they enter the main track, and Spend a Buck now emerges with a short lead, and Proudest Hour driving up on the inside is now second by ahead. Secretary General right there in between horses. Bionic Light right with the early leaders. He's 4th on the outside, about 2 lengths back. And then 3 more lengths to Spectacular Love now. He's settled into 5th position, and the favorite Chiefs Crown is 6th. 7 lengths off the leaders as they head for the half-mile pole. Toward the inside, Tanks Prospect is now racing in 7th position. Script Ohio is now 8th. And farther back are the trailers, Concert Hall and Dauphine Fableau, as the field races round the far turn. The quarter in 22 and 2 and a half and 45 seconds flat. And Spend a Buck now. He's got a 2-length lead. Bionic Light is giving chase in 2nd. And here comes the favorite, Chiefs Crown, and he's flying on the outside now as the field turns for home. Proudest Hour is giving it up now, and he's 4th toward the inside. And Tanks Prospect is gaining ground toward the rail, but they still have Spend a Buck to catch. Chiefs Crown attacks on the outside. Tanks Prospect is now 3rd toward the inside. Bionic Light is 4th. They're inside the final furlong, and here comes Chiefs Crown on the outside. He's taken the lead. Tanks Prospect, the late move toward the inside. They're coming to the finish. Chiefs Crown, here's the wire, and a champion is crowned. It's Chiefs Crown. Chiefs Crown was stalking the pace. He was about 7 lengths off the lead down the backstretch, and with a sweeping and dramatic move on the turn, he goes on to victory in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Number 5, Chiefs Crown. The favorite went off at 3 to 5. Well rated by jockey Don Macbeth. It's his only opportunity today. Waited for his move at the top of the stretch. And Tanks Prospect closing hard. A solid 2nd, Dave.
A very cleanly run race, very zippy first quarter, 22 and 2. And from right here, I thought Spend a Buck was going to be home. There were no starting gate tracks for him to jump over today. You might see that blue piece of, it's a shadow roll over his nose. That was to keep him from jumping any shadows. Tanks Prospect on the inside is still learning how to run, and he's going to be a real good racehorse. And I didn't think the Chiefs Crown was going to come on. When they reached that old finish line, it was Spend a Buck. When they reached the new finish line, it was Chiefs Crown, who now everybody from here to Kingdom Come's going to be talking about as the favorite for next year's Kentucky Derby. Tanks Prospect on the rail and the white set of blinkers coming on, but Don Macbeth gets home in front with Chiefs Crown, trained by Roger Lauren. Takes Prospect second, Spend a Buck third, and the final time was what was it? 36 and 1. 136 and 1.
So Chiefs Crown answering the call, the favorite, and winning again. That's 6 wins in 9 starts for Chiefs Crown. Unofficially, Tank's Prospect with Spend a Buck and Script Ohio finishing 4th. The first $1 million race is history, and there's the breeding background. Danzig out of 6 crowns, of course, Secretariat and Chris Everett, part of the breeding line of the winner today, Chiefs Crown.
Even you fans who have never tuned in horse racing before have surely heard the name Secretariat. He was trained by the great Lucian Lauren. His son Roger Lauren. Looks like you learned a little bit along the way, Roger.
Yeah, I had a good lead in, that's for sure.
Oh, what about Chiefs Crown today?
Well, I thought Chiefs Crown ran his race. He really truly is the champion. He laid off the pace. He made his one run, and that's always good enough.
Roger, you have the horse syndicated already. What are we going to do with him now? Go to the Derby here, Florida, where?
From here, we spend another 2-3 weeks here, then we go to Florida, and then we start getting ready for the Derby.
Roger.
Let's bring in Don
Come on in,
McFadden.
Don. We just got the replay going here. Here you are. Don, could you describe what's going on here as you're beginning to fly on the outside?
Well, about the 3/8 pole, I moved him up into position on the outside of Spectacular Love. And at that time, I was able to drop over to only about 3 wide, which I was a little concerned about with a sharp turn turning for home. And the rest is history.
Don, this horse likes to move that way. That's circling around to the 3 and 4 path.
Well, it was available. I knew I wouldn't have to check him. And I definitely want to have a chance to let this horse run. I didn't want to be sitting there with a handful of horse and nowhere to go.
Did you ever think that anyone like Tank's Prospect was going to beat you?
Well, I'll tell you, I rode Tank's Prospect at the Meadowlands. I didn't think he was going to beat me today, but I'm not surprised that he ran well.
Well, now you got yourself a Derby colt. You're going to Florida.
Yes, we'll go to Florida first and then on to Kentucky.
Well, you're no longer Lucian's son. He's now your father. Or one way or the other. Congratulations, New York. 1, 2, 3, 4 riders.
And let's go back to Dick and Dave.
All right, gentlemen. Chiefs Crown named in honor of the late Carl Rosen. They called him the Chief in a big day, paying $340, $280, and $240. Tank's Prospect, named after the ex-football player Tank Younger, $12.80 and $6 to finish second, and Spend a Buck the show horse at $340. Let's go to the stable area and Tom Hammond.
All right, Dick Enberg, we are in the stable area, and behind us is the star of this first Breeders' Cup day. This is Slew of Gold with a muzzle on to keep him from eating any of the straw in his stall before his big race, the richest race ever run, the $3 million Breeders' Cup Classic. But all has not been rosy for Slew of Gold this week. He's been battling foot problems. He has suffered 3 separate quarter cracks in the walls of his hoof, and he really wouldn't be running today without the efforts of this man, Dr. Judd Butler. Dr. Butler, as we look at some shots of the operation you performed, tell us just what you did to Slew of Gold.
Well, as you can see from the picture, I applied a fiberglass patch to the hoof using sheet metal screws. We did that yesterday morning at 4 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, Ray Amato, our blacksmith, applied a modified bar shoe. At 6 o'clock, Angel Cordero had the horse on the track, and he was very happy with the way that he worked.
Do you expect any alternate performance today? Should he run all right with the patch and the shoe?
Mike Kennedy, his regular exercise boy, took the horse out this morning and galloped him lightly, and he was extremely happy, and we're very optimistic about the whole thing.
Okay, that's the story on Slew of Gold. It's going to be his last race, but they expect it to be a big one. Back to you, Dick.
It's a pleasure to welcome Fred Astaire. He had a Newmarket friend, the late Jack Leach, who wrote Sods I Cut on the Turf. He loved horse racing, did he not? He said you were the best mover he ever saw.
Well, he was a trainer for me for a while and a rider. When I first went to England years ago, and I had a few animals with him. So he's a great friend of mine.
1946 on this race course, you had a Gold Cup winner, triplicate. Do you remember how much he paid to win? I mean, how much it was worth to you?
It was 7 to 1. I didn't know that. I've kind of forgotten it now. But he won like a nice horse. He was a nice horse.
$80,000 was the money for winning that race. You know, if you were in the $3 race today, 5th place makes twice that.
I know it. I was just thinking it. I'm going to wait before I go back into the business. Again, I haven't any horses right now. But when I go back, I'm going to wait till the purses are bigger. That won't be long.
Not indeed. Nice to see you, sir.
Thank you. It's good talking to you.
And we saw Fred going to the mutual windows. He must have had that winner. Can you imagine teaching a kid how to tap dance? Can you imagine teaching a racehorse how to race? Well, we thought you'd enjoy the sort of backstage look at what goes into bringing a horse to the races.
I think it's very smart when you're breaking young horses or dealing with young horses that they have a lot of time out in the pasture. That way, when they do come in, they've had their play time out there, and they're not going to come in and feel real spunky and, you know, trying to get all over you. They're going to be relaxed while you're starting to work with them. And we're not interested here in finding out who can run and who can't. It's just the education that we're interested in and getting them to the racetrack where they're mentally and physically, they're in good shape. Our first step into this is just to get these young horses, fillies or colts, to relax, to be able to have the people work around them, and you're brushing them, you're actually bathing them. While this is all happening, we have a bit in a horse's mouth, okay? They kind of get a taste to the bridle, and that's what I like to call it, just a taste to the bridle. And then we'll start what we call a belly strap or a search single that is used around the horse's stomach. After the strap, we have a saddle that we'll put on, and then we'll just keep turning them in the stall and moving them. All this is done, of course, with the man handling the horse's head at all times. I mean, we just don't throw a saddle on them and turn them loose and let them buck or anything like that. All this is done under control. Then our next step would be what we would call bellying. And the rider just lays his stomach over the horse's back, and this is just so the horse can feel the weight. And once we feel that the horse is accepting the weight on his back, then we'll go ahead and would straddle the horse and go ahead and let the man sit on the horse's back and just pet him. We don't rush him, and we just let him realize that what we're going to do is not going to hurt him. And before you know it, they'll just kind of say, hey, I mean, I don't need all this, you know, I'll just go ahead and accept it. We may put anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks just out in the fields before we even try to go out onto the racetrack. Well, I think a horse needs enough gait training so when he gets there, he's not going to be frightened by the fast-moving activities that are going around at the racetracks. We can break them, and we're going to guarantee them they're going to be well broke, but we can't run for them, that's all.
Welcome back to Hollywood Park. We're getting ready for the $1 million race for 2-year-old fillies. Same course and distance as the boys have just run, a mile on the dirt track. And we have some international aspects to explore, so let's go down to our man from Dublin, Michael O'Hare.
Well, we're particularly interested in the Canadian horse here today because he's trained by an Irishman called Mike Doyle, a man who's a member of one of our great Irish racing families. But Bessarabian, well, she's proved it here in the United States and also in Canada, and she looks absolutely terrific. And a sour note there in the background that the crowd reacted to, a note on that trumpet that wasn't too good. Bruff, no European runners here. The dirt, no doubt, the reason why.
Well, they never run on the dirt, of course, the European horses, Michael. That is a big disadvantage. But we had a crack filly, also from Ireland, Parker Peel, the best filly in Europe. She was going to come. She was bought by Sheikh Mohammed to come here, and she's coughing. The ailments are getting all the horses today, Michael.
Yes, it's a big problem indeed. But of course, the big question being the dirt and the turf. And well, we like it on the turf. The American horses like it on the dirt. And you know who's coming in here? The man that trains Bessarabian. Mike, how is she?
She couldn't be better, Mike. She's come out of a race at the Meadowlands very well, and her recent form has been tremendous. She settled in very well here. She worked good over the course, and she's trained well up to today. I hope everything goes well.
I've heard people say that because she's a Canadian that she's overrated. Would you agree with that? You know, there are a lot of things in the past that prove there's no justification, but...
I wouldn't agree with it at all. I think she proved her point when she went to the Meadowlands.
You know, a lot of people think, Mike, that we're superstitious in Ireland. Have you a little bit of a superstition?
A little tiny bit. I'd like to make sure I have my right hat on and stuff like that.
Is that the hat that brings the winners?
Sometimes, anyway. There's a couple of...
Righto. Back to you, Dick.
Well, maybe he'll feel better if he knows that gentleman, Cary Grant, likes Bessarabian, and so do many here at Hollywood Park, the current favorite in the field of 10, and they're in the post parade.
Let's take a look at the bargain hunting pair to begin with. You get 2 for the price of 1. Again, from the D. Wayne Lucas barn. He's very good with those young horses. And we'll take a look at first number 1, Fiesta Lady. This is a horse who fires a good one now and then. She's won on both coasts. She won the Del Mar Debutante and the Matron at Belmont Park, but she backed up last time and finished 5th in Kentucky. Let's take a look at stablemate Tiltulating. And Tiltulating has early speed. This horse is going to keep them all honest, but we might have a little bit too much real estate here this afternoon. A lot of folks think that Tiltulating might be very good for 6 furlongs, but that she just will not last the mile. That's on Hill Cordero Jr. aboard. By the way, Velasquez rides the first part of the entry, Fiesta Lady. You can always check these horses. They wear the white bridles, easy to spot in the race. Now let's take a look at Alan Paulson's number 2, Savannah Dancer. Here's a horse who's only been to the races twice. Make that 3 times, but had big excuses last out. Is training very well for Ron McAnally, who is the trainer of John Henry, and Eddie Delahousie rides number 2, Savannah Dancer, in the red, white, and blue. How about Fine Spirit? This horse was awesome last out, won by 13 lengths, beating maidens. Chris McCarron rides. The time before that should have been a winner. They're taking a shot. They're going for the mile, and they're going for the million with Fine Spirit. And next is a Pennsylvania bred who absolutely blitzed them in the Gardenia. Before that, she was a star in Canada, and I think she's a real stick out here. Gary Stahlbaum rides the very versatile filly, Bessarabian, who can win on any kind of a racing surface, and I would throw in a rocky road there. Bessarabian, I'm sure, can handle this beautiful fast track today. Here's Dusty Hart, and Dusty Hart doesn't have much of a chance here. Just 1 win, and that was at 5 furlongs at Churchill Downs. Darrell McHargo is an outstanding rider who campaigned over in Europe last year and gets the mount here today. Fran's Valentine, a California bred, was 4th in the Oak Leaf last out. Not a disgrace, though, but it looks like she's over her head here. And Pat Valenzuela rides the 6-horse Fran's Valentine. How about Weekend Delight? Very well traveled miss. This horse has won at Keeneland, at River Downs, at Saratoga, Latonia, but not against this class. Charlie Woods, his only mount of the day, looking for lightning in a bottle with Weekend Delight. Now here's a horse outstandingly. It's very interesting when you look at the form. You see that the horse has been favored in his last 2 starts. Must show a lot of promise in the morning, but she's been beaten. So we'll just have to see what happens this afternoon. Got You Runnin' is the homebred from the state of Washington, wearing saddlecloth number 9, and that's Gary Stevens in the blue colors. A long shot. Gary Stevens, one of the young riders at age 21. And Pirates Glow completes the field. Pirates Glow, a Cal bred, a bridesmaid, finished 2nd in her last 3 starts in stakes company, but could be a little closer today. Bet down a bit from the morning line. And speaking of the morning line, what is it?
All right, David, Fiesta Lady and Tiltulating, the Gene Klein Wayne Lucas entry at 7-2. The second choice, Savannah Dancer, number 2, at 8-1. Fine Spirit, 6-1. Bessarabian, the morning favorite, at 5-2. Dusty Hart, a long shot, 30-1. Fran's Valentine, also 30-1. Weekend Delight, 3-1. Outstandingly, Got You Running, and Pirates Glow at 12-1. Well, upstairs studying the colors, our race caller Tom Durkin, maybe looking at the blue and red silks and the red cap of the favorite Bessarabian with a diamond white E. And we'll be back with our second race. The favorite is the 4-horse Bessarabian, 8-5, with the entry of Fiesta Lady and Tiltulating at 3-1. And the bettors also like the 3-horse Fine Spirit at 3-1. That didn't draw a call from any of our experts.
Bet down from a starting line of 6-1 down to the 3-1. And Bessarabian is still the favorite, though, at 8-5. Long shots, Dusty Hart at 70. Fran's Valentine at 60. Weekend Delight is at 10. Outstandingly, that horse that Pete gives a shot to at 21-1. Got You Runnin' is at 25, and Pirates Glow, who was 2nd, by the way, in the Oak Leaf to Folk Art, is the 10-horse and is 8-1.
Let's go to the track, and near the starting gate is Robin Smith.
It's remarkable how calm these two-year-old fillies are. I'm very surprised. I think we have to give the credit to the trainers. Very, very calm out here.
I bet there's some hearts beating rather strongly inside those great athletes, the jockeys, as they approach that starting gate. Remember, in that jockey race, McCarron is on number 3, Fine Spirit in this race. Cordero on 1A, Tiltulating in the entry. And
that's
those
Jorge
are two
Velasquez
balls.
on Fiesta Lady going into the starting gate now, and Eddie Delahousie, who won a couple Kentucky Derbies not too long ago. By the way, Tiltolating, who is wearing the same colors as Eugene Klein, is wearing a white cap.
And Pinkai with no mount. Let's go to the call. Here's Tom Durkin.
All right, thank you very much, Dick. And there goes the favorite at 8-5 right now, Bessarabian, and she moves in quite nicely. Here is Dusty Hart, muscular filly. However, for all those muscles, she is lightly regarded at 70-1 at this point. Franz Valentine has moved in quite nicely. There's another long shot. And here is a big overlay with 3-1 in the morning line. And right now, Weekend Delight is 9-1. And there you see those famous colors of the Harborview Farm worn to Triple Crown Glory by a Fern. Got 2 more to load here. Waiting for Pirates Glow and Tiltolating. And Tiltolating goes into post position number 11. We're ready to go. They're in the gate. And they're off. On the far outside, it's Tiltolating who's going for the early lead. Got You Running is right there. Weekend Delight is also away quickly, and Pirates Glow on the far outside as they move up the chute and onto the main track. Tiltolating is the early pacemaker now. She's in front by a length. Got You Running is second. Weekend Delight is racing in third. There goes Fine Spirit now. She's racing for the lead on the inside. Pirates Glow on the outside is fifth. She's about 2.5 lengths off the lead. Franz Valentine is sixth on the outside. Dusty Hart is a close seventh toward the rail. A gap of 5 lengths to Bessarabia now. She's 8. 10 lengths off the lead as they move to the half-mile pole. Then farther back are the trailers, Outstanding Lady, Savannah Dancer, and Fiesta Lady is last as the field moves into the far turn. The first quarter went in 22 3 in the half-mile in 46 seconds flat. It's still Tiltolating. She leads the way by a length and a half. Fine Spirit now making her move midway around the far turn. She's second now on the outside. Dusty Hart is fading just a bit in third. Franz Valentine is fourth. She's moving through in between horses. Pirates Glow is fifth on the outside. And here comes Bessarabia now at the top of the stretch. She's sixth, but she's 6 lengths back as the field moves to the final furlong. Tiltolating. Cordero goes to work on this front runner, but it's Fine Spirit who takes command as they come to the final furlong. Weekend Delight is moving up. Here's Franz Valentine on the outside, and Dusty Hart is there toward the rail. And Bessarabian, she's a beaten filly today. Savannah Dancer, they're coming to the wire. Outstandingly, she's charging on the inside. They're coming to the finish. Franz Valentine, outstandingly. Franz Valentine, a huge upset here. A huge upset. Franz Valentine, the pride of the state of Washington, went off at, not the state of Washington, but a date of 70-1 chance. She was a big upset winner here under Pat Valenzuela. Back to you, Dick.
Oh, my. Franz Valentine, named after the wife of Earl Scheib, the auto paint business magnate, Fran Scheib. And in her honor, Franz Valentine at 70-1, a major upset in the $1 million Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
The last quarter in 26 2. Fast early fractions just set it up for this horse who came from behind. I thought McClark was going to get through on the rail here with Dusty Hart. And this is what makes racing so much fun. I didn't give this horse, who's owned by Earl Scheib, I just thought this was a horse of another color, and I didn't think she had a shot. Here comes 22-year-old Pat Valenzuela on the outside. Outstandingly, he's making a good run at it. But the long shot, Franz Valentine. And here's another way to pick winners. Our stage manager is Fran, and she had it. And she's going to go to the windows, and I hope she's buying the steak dinners tonight. Outstandingly gets the place spot. It's a photo for show. And how about this? We have an upset in a $1 million race. Franz Valentine.
I don't feel so bad either. Franz Valentine beat our little Here Comes Love over at the Pomona in a stakes race. And now we have an inquiry, so hold on.
Yeah, maybe down the backstretch you saw number 9. Got You Running, made a stumble. I don't have any idea of where this inquiry is.
I thought I saw a bump just at the head of the stretch coming down the home stretch, and I think it did involve the green silks of Franz Valentine.
It did, because as you can see, when you're out here at the racetrack and there's a problem, the lights go up on the board, and when they're flashing, hold on to your tickets, because there might be something happening. Now, I know Pete and Harvey are down there in the winner's circle, and maybe you can take a look and see who's going to talk on that direct line telephone. Did you see anything from where you were?
What I saw, Dave, was Pat Valenzuela with Franz Valentine definitely did have some contact and swerved out dramatically at the 8th pole. but I couldn't tell that he caused it or if somebody else hit him.
You see the stewards studying the television monitors as they make their... This is a steward's inquiry. That's Pete Peterson, and the pressure on them with $1 million at stake to make a very tough call.
I'll tell you, the pressure is on them, whether it's a very small purse or $1 million purse, and they do an outstanding job of adjudicating the racing. What they will do now is watch videotapes from various angles and find out just exactly what happened there. Probably one of the jockeys might claim foul here. Yep, it looks like that's Fernando Toro, who was a rider of Pirates Glow.
Toro had to pull up and finished almost dead last when very much in the running at the head of the stretch. Toro aboard Pirates Glow, the 10-horse. Pete Axhelm's choice outstandingly involved in the 1-2 finish with Fran's Valentine, and those are the two numbers blinking now, 6 and 8. Fran Valentine's jockey, Patrick Valenzuela. And let's go to the top of the stretch, Dave.
Well, let's see. Now the horse, right here is the incident. The horse with the green cap on the right looks like he's angling out there looking for a little racing room, and I guess Pat Valenzuela did come out just a little bit, but of course it's up to the stewards to adjudicate this. Okay. Fernando Toro figures that he maybe lost a little ground here.
Oh, there's a definite bump there as you see Valenzuela look at Toro aboard Pirates Gold. Let's go back to Pete Axhelm.
Dick, quite a story down here. Fernando Toro came down here, spoke to the stewards, and then started shouting at Pat Valenzuela. What did you think you were doing? Why did you come out like that? Pat said, I was behind a wall of horses. I had to get out. The stewards will decide who will get the last shout.
Pat was telling the stewards if he didn't get out, he would have clipped heels. If they listened to him, we got a big purse.
Disqualification. Fran's Valentine taken down, and Patrick Valenzuela, a $500,000 error.
The horse was placed behind the horse he bothered. A very sad Pat Valenzuela coming off. I'm sure that he feels that he had no choice but to do what he did. And outstandingly, the horse who was lightly raced and the horse that Pete Axhelm thought might have a shot here gets home. Beaten favorite in last 2 outs, finishing second, but getting the $1 million purse here today.
There are the official numbers. Oh, my. So the winner, Juvenile Fillies at $1 mile for $1 million. Lewis and Patrice Wolfson's outstandingly paying $47.60. Of course, they raced and bred the 1978 Triple Crown winner of Firm. The presentation underway now. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies races history. The winner outstandingly. The scene in the winner's circle. Honorable Martha Lane Collins, the governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, presenting the Breeders' Cup trophy to Lewis and Patrice Wolfson, owners of Outstandingly. Walter Guerra, the winning jockey.
The horse who had the rough luck is in the light blue colors with the white cap. That's Pirates Glow, who eventually finished 9th. Just to the inside is Pat Valenzuela on Fran's Valentine. He is behind a wall of horses, but the stewards thought that his actions were rough and untimely, and for this incident, Fran's Valentine was disqualified from first and placed 10th, because that's the rules of racing. You have to be placed behind the horse you bother. So it cost Fran's Valentine all the money, and it cost Pirates Glow, I'm sure, part of the purse.
We're approaching the 6-furlong sprint championship.
Starting on the back stretch, ending right in front of the Pavilion of the Stars. And a little handicapping here. If you take a look at the form sheet, you see that Fighting Fit has been rested and then had one sort of tune-up race at Santa Anita before this afternoon. I think it's a very smart play on the part of Bobby Frankel, who's the trainer. I think he might have thought that some of these horses might have been to the well once too often, and he wants to bring a fresh horse in here, and he's got one with Fighting Fit.
Now, let me make sure I got this right. Now, if a horse lays off for a month or more, races once, and then races the second time, I should maybe give it a closer look.
This is what I call my Dr. David angle, because Dr. David Levine gave me this handicapping tip. What it is that if you find a horse who's had a little bit of a rest and then come back and run a pretty decent race after a long layoff, he's going to improve his next start. And a little more for this Fighting Fit. He loves this track. Let me give you the bad news, though. He has little broken bones in both of his feet, and he has bar shoes on both of his front feet. So that's not too good, but Bobby Frankel is.
Okay. A second time after a long layoff.
Right.
Marking that one down. Let's go out to Tom Hammond.
Thank you, Dick. As we get ready for the sprint, let's look ahead to the final race on the card today, the $3 Million Classic. Most people think that if Slew of Gold is upset in that race, it'll be the 3-year-old Preakness and Super Derby winner Gate Dancer that does the honors. One thing about Gate Dancer, you'll be seeing him come from behind, and he'll be easy to spot. This is an odd bit of paraphernalia that Gate Dancer wears. It's a hood. It has earmuffs that keeps him from hearing the crowd and perhaps being spooked by it. He also wears a big sheepskin shadow roll to keep him from jumping shadows. He's a bit neurotic, but he can run, and in this hood, trainer Jack Van Berg says he looks kind of like Bugs Bunny. Maybe get the job done today. Back to you.
On the morning line, the favorite, the number 5 horse, Eillo. And now the introduction of this field, $1 million, 6 furlongs.
Number 1 is Princess Tracy. Here's a horse from Europe, never raced on the dirt. A very tough assignment because during the race that dirt comes back, hits him in the face. They just don't know what's happening. The 3-year-old filly has almost impossible assignment here today. Here is Tangent. 5-race winning streak going in, but in all sprints, but not against this kind of class competition. Gustavo Barrera, the regular rider from his previous engagements, is in the saddle, and that's Tangent in the green and white. Charging Falls, and Pat Day is aboard. Quick correction, I said Pat was leading race winner this year. Sorry about that. Russell Bayes is the number of wins this year is on top. Pat Day, of course, in 82 and 83. His horse this year in this race, Charging Falls, is a durable sport, but not this class. Pleasure K won his last 3. He's as tough as they come. Doesn't have to be on the lead. Lafitte Pinkai Jr. is in the irons. That's Pleasure K. And Eillo. Seems to me he has to be on the lead. He's been training very well. In fact, jockey Craig Prett's been making the red-eye flights between the Meadowlands and California just to work this horse. There's Eillo right there with the bandages that Sharon mentioned, and he has been training spectacularly, a half-mile workout in 45 seconds on November the 6th. There's Pac-Mania, and if he wins, save room in the car for me, please, Pete and Harvey, because I'll be with you. But how about the emotion? There's Pat Valenzuela. He just got disqualified in a $1 million race. What's going through his mind? And racing is a kind of a sport where emotion does take over. Watch for him to be giving his best here. Pac-Mania. Commemorate is the number 7 horse. Chris McCarron gets the mount. Good numbers, but not, I don't think, the kind of class that we're racing against. Why do I have to say this horse's name first on the broadcast? The number 8 horse. Aras un Ucterrain. Oh, close. Boy. Tom Durkin, have some fun with this one. Angel Cordero Jr. rides. Training fine, but never raced on the dirt, and we'll just have to see what happens. Explosive Wagon. Boy, I got a big question mark. Why is this horse here? He's trying to catch lightning in a bottle, too, like a couple of the other ones earlier. He's been racing very long races. This is a sprint. He really should be sharp. Let's see if he is. Tony Ives came over from England to ride Riche, the number 10 horse. Tough, consistent, 4 straight early in the year, but not of late. And Fighting Fit, the horse that we talked about just a bit earlier, is number 11 with the bar shoes and the little broken bones, but he's got Eddie Delahousie. He loves this track, and he could sit behind the early leaders and gobble them all up.
All right, and here are the current odds. The favorite indeed, Eillo, Ollie spelled backwards. The 5 horse at 6-5, Princess Tracy 40-1. 12-1 for Tangent. Charging Falls a long shot at 35-1. Pleasure K 9-2. The bettors like the 4. Pac-Mania 25-1.
Commemorate is at 7, and thank you, Dick. I will say it's number 8 is 25-1. Explosive Wagon is at 35. Riche, the foreign horse, is at 70, and Fighting Fit has been bet from 3.5 down to 3-1. But this is a local favorite horse.
Your favorite?
Yeah, I really can't bet Eillo, and I like Fighting Fit, and I certainly don't like 7-5.
So Fighting Fit, the choice of Dave Johnson. Pete Axhelm going for 3 for 3 is his selection. The 5 horse, the favorite Eillo. They're loading them up, so let's go to Tom Durkin.
Indeed, we're having a little bit of a problem with the oddly named Oris an Uachtaráin, and I suppose all of my Irish relatives will be rather disappointed if I didn't say that name correctly. But with some urging from the assistant starters, Oris an Uachtaráin is in the gate. Eillo has not been loaded yet. Explosive Wagon is moving, and now Eillo goes in. We've got 2 more back behind the gate, waiting for Riche and Fighting Fit. And Riche has moved in nicely, and there is Fighting Fit, who took a lot of late money here at Hollywood Park. A Bobby Frankel trainee. With Eddie De La Houssaye aboard, you can't ask for better connections than that. Then the assistant starters, he needs a little urging to get in too. He's in the gate. We're ready for a start. They're in the gate. And they're off. Eillo is right out for the lead, and he sprints clear quickly by 2.5 lengths as the field moves up the backstretch. Princess Tracy now moves into second on the inside. Commemorate is now racing in third. Tangent is racing in fourth. Pleasure K is fifth in between horses. Explosive Wagon on the outside is now sixth. On the inside, Charging Falls is seventh. Pac-Mania is eighth in between horses. Riche is ninth on the outside, but he's only about 5 lengths back. Oris on Uctaran is second to last, and Fighting Fit is the trailer as they race round the far turn. Eillo is bounding along with a 2-length lead. Pleasure K is second in between horses. Princess Tracy toward the inside. Here comes Commemorate now, and he's making his run for the lead as they approach the quarter pole. Then farther back, it's Tangent racing in fifth position. Charging Falls toward the inside. On the far outside, Fighting Fit is seventh as they come to the final furlong. Craig Perrette now, he's all out on Eillo, and Eillo responds. He's in front by 2.5 lengths with a furlong to go. Commemorate is second on the outside, trying to close in. Pleasure K is third. Fighting Fit is making a late run, 50 yards to the finish. Eillo in front and driving. Commemorate, here's the wire. Eillo and Commemorate, and those two finish together. It was very, very tight. Eillo was right there. Commemorate was right at his neck as they hit the wire. A photo finish in the sprint.
And we might mention that Commemorate being a 3-year-old, Eillo being a 4-year-old, there was a 2-pound difference in the weight. Eillo carrying 126, Commemorate 124. And it's Eillo with the right-handed whipping of Craig Perrette. And you'll see in the gold cap, 3 off the rail, that's Commemorate, and Chris McCarron, one of the great ones of our time. Princess Tracy spits it out here and drops back. Pleasure K, the filly, is out of it at this point, and it's a 2-horse race for the wire. Eillo looks like a winner, but watch the late surge by Commemorate, the exclusive native colt who is bred in Kentucky, trained by Laz Barrera and racing the colors of the Winfield Farms. Here's where everybody in the stands crosses their finger, takes their breath, but I think it might be Eillo, at least from our location. But let's take another look from our finish line camera. Oh,
by a nose.
That's a photo finish.
And Dave, as you projected, Eillo breaking out of there so quickly and perhaps almost spending the chance for that $500,000 victory on the backside.
Quick first quarter, 22 and 2, 45 and 3 for the half, 57 and 1, and 110 and 1. Very respectable for Eillo on the front end the whole way.
There's your winner. It's now official. Eillo, the 5-horse ridden by Craig Perrette. The photo by a nose over number 7, Commemorate, ridden by Chris McCarron. McCarron with another second today. Third was Fighting Fit. Fourth, Pleasure K. Chris McCarron, now the #1 jockey in earnings in 1984. He's with Sharon Smith.
Well, Chris, a disappointment, one more jump, as they say, but a good race by your horse.
Yeah, the colt ran really well. He was running strong at the end, and one more jump, I had that horse, and it was exciting.
Another thing we got to observe here, it doesn't look like a horse is going to win on the front end. If a horse as fast as Eillo almost got caught at 6 furlongs, boy, you have to have some plans in mind for the later races.
Well, it's a very long stretch, and you better be sitting and waiting, saving some horse. It's a 1/16 of a mile further than it used to be, and at least the horses in California, they're not familiar with the stretch this long, so you're going to have to make sure you got a lot of horse when you turn home.
If you like the number 5, you did all right today. That's 2 wins and a second for the 5-horse in the day's activity. Eillo officially the winner at $460 to win, $380 and $280. Commemorate, $7 to place, $420 to show, and Fighting Fit, the show horse, at $280. Let's go to Michael and Bruff.
Well, plenty of excitement down here, and indeed, personally, I'd like to say how pleased I was to see Princess Tracy run so well. Rob?
She ran a blinder. She's a very fast starter. To be beaten out of the gate only by Eillo shows how good she could be if she stayed here.
Exactly. You know, we're coming up to a race that I think we're going to have quite a say in. When I say we, I mean Europe. race on the turf, on our own footing, as it were.
This is where I think we've got a winner, folks. I really do. I think Fan is nailed on here, provided he handles the competition, the tightness of the turns. He's never been on a left-handed turn in his life. But you stay with us. Fan on the turf. It's nailed on.
That sounds the utmost of confidence. Of course, there is a local lady that originally came from our part of the world called Royal Heroine that she's going to make him go. But I agree with you, Fan. Dick?
And the John Gonzalez says Linda Evans should say very close. It's a tight shot that they want to get here.
Oh.
Enjoying yourself?
I'm having a wonderful time. It's a very exciting day.
We've heard all about our experts, and they have all the analysis, and they've studied the form. How do you pick the horses? By color? Do you have my system? Just take a number and hope that that's right, or a name strikes your fancy?
Well, actually, I'm a numerologist, so I add up the name and get all the numbers, and then I bet on it, and I've only won 1 out of 3, so I don't think this is going so well.
So you had the winner in the first race?
Yes.
Coming up in this next race, it's interesting because you have a field of 10 and 9 colts, and you have 1 filly in there, Royal Heroine. Would that influence your choice?
Well, I've heard she's pretty good, so I don't know. I'd probably, why not stick with the women? Why not?
All right. We have a 6-month-old, and we wait till it drools, and if it drools on the right number, that's as good as anything I do.
Yeah.
Linda, thank you for dropping by.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
We'd like to have you stay close, but I know you want to get back.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And there she is, 1A Royal Heroine, a chance at $500,000 for first place today, but in the future carries the promise of millions more as a broodmare. Certainly what we watch and cheer today is often part of a carefully designed and orchestrated program of matchmaking.
For all its pastoral beauty, there are some facts you should know about the breeding scene. The gestation period for a horse is 11 months. Every foal is deemed 1 year old when he first reaches January 1. So it's important he isn't born too late into the summer. And when the mare beds down in the foaling box, the miracle of birth has also to be a carefully tended, mercenary matter. Quite apart from the normal veterinary concern for the producing mother, is the importance for her to recover well enough, to conceive again as soon as possible. Within a month of that nativity come arrangements for the next matrimony.
Okay, and the mare's name? And the stallion? Seattle Slew? Okay. Okay, and you want to breed her what day? Wednesday afternoon? And what type of mare is she?
It's springtime, and for thoroughbreds, romance is in the air. It's a chauvinistic deal. The ladies are vanned in to the court of the masters. But for these gentlemen, lovemaking is now not just a pleasure, but an intensely supervised business. A stallion will have some 40 mares between January and July, which can mean 2 matings a day at the height of the season. And what was once a beautiful private moment is now about as secret as the Super Bowl. TV monitors record everything, and down in the breeding shed, a whole team of backup men stand by to ensure that these are no haphazard couplings. A fruitless mating here can cost tens of thousands of dollars. An infection, 10 times that figure. So these precautions are necessary. But it's still small wonder, perhaps, that some stallions think that the whole copulation kick is not all it's cracked up to be. Seattle Slew is certainly one of them.
Slew come down here and he takes his time. Well, I don't know whether I like this girl or not, so I'm going to better take me on back to the bar. That's where Slew is. Yeah, he's a sometimey horse. Sometimey horse. Sometimes he's all right and sometimes he's not all right.
Well, Slew may be sometimey, but mares are queuing up for his favours, because with Slew Gold and other champions to his name, moments like this can become the start of racing history. But the real fascination of the breeding game is that hope is revived with every birth. Any well-bred, well-made foal scurrying round the paddock could be a hero within 3 years. He is the stuff that dreams are made of.
I love that line from that groom. Seattle Slew, sometime a horse, sometime all right, and sometime not. Well, the timing was right for 3 horses. They've made their owners $500,000 richer today. In the first race, the favorite, Chief's Crown, with Don Macbeth aboard, winning that race of 2-year-old colts. And outstandingly, a disqualification, Fran's Valentine in that one. And finally, Eillo, the favorite, wins in the 3rd race. Coming up, the 4th race on our Breeders' Cup program. The first trip on the turf course today at Hollywood Park. 1 mile the distance, 9 boys, and the filly Royal Heroine. There he is, old Blue Eyes himself, Frank Sinatra, studying the form as we go to the 4th race. And here's the parade.
And here's number 1, Prego, who's an able horse, but he just doesn't like to race. He's very talented, but Bruff Scott told me last night that Pat Ettery just sort of has to pop him up on the line. He gets blinkers for the first time this afternoon, should keep this horse maybe a little bit closer. Here's Royal Heroine, the filly we've talked about. Good in Europe, better as she goes along. She's tough, she's had a foot problem, but she's beaten the boys here on this turf, and she looks great this afternoon. Fernando Toro fits this filly perfectly. And we come now to Tsunami Slew. I understand that's Japanese for typhoon, and getting a little bit out of the post parade. Eddie Delahousie ready to sort of warm up on Tsunami Slew, who won his last race by a nose. Here's smart and sharp Steve Neff in for the riding assignment. A winner last out, a 5-year-old, but meeting a pretty tough class here this afternoon. Star Choice is the 4-horse who was a winner of his last 2 starts, carries 126 pounds by In Reality, and certainly can get the job done. And let's take a look at another second after a long layoff, and another one from Bobby Frankel's barn. Here's Night Mover, and Night Mover was second in a tremendous effort last time, just beaten a nose by Tsunami Slew. And again, the jockey is Lafitte Pinkai Jr. Cozine, who has equaled the track record in his last 2 starts and will try and win this Breeders' Cup Mile, sponsored by Michelob. And Cozine with Walter Guerra. Guerra, of course, getting that victory by virtue of the disqualification earlier, and owned by John Nehru, the heart and the soul of the Breeders' Cup itself. Here's Learfan, a good professional racehorse. This horse was rated higher than Royal Heroine in England. 5 starts and 7 wins with 2 excuses. So, and again today, never raced on a left-handed track, never raced in the counterclockwise motion, but the trainer's been preparing this horse for 2 months on a track, hoping that he'll be able to make that left-hand turn today. Tights with Chris McCarron won the Volante handicap last time out in fine fashion at 1 1/8, and the mile turf distance and the grass surface should fit Tights very well. Tight, trained by Lazaro Barrera. Tons a Run is the oldest horse in this field at 6, but a little bit uneven and a little bit unlucky. The owner told me at the press conference the other day they thought that the problem was pace, and they probably thought that Sandy Hawley is going to try and have this horse up a little closer than usual. So there they are, the 10 horses in the $1 million Breeders' Cup Mile on the turf, sponsored by Michelob.
Here's the morning line. Well, you can see for yourself there that the entry up at the top, they are the ones that are the favorites in that morning line. And, well, our horse, he's coming along, and he was 9-2 in the morning line, but I think he's somewhat longer than that at the moment.
Yeah, my money's going on it near like 7-1, and that'll suit me fine, because Royal Heroine, she hasn't run for 2 months either. There you are. He's 7-1. The entry is 7-5. Very short. Prego just could be a big surprise, but Royal Heroine's had a foot problem. I don't really fancy her. She's obviously very talented. We know how well she ran in the million.
All right, Dave Johnson has already indicated he likes Royal Heroine. It's Cozine and Learfan for Harvey and X. Now let's go upstairs to Tom Durkin.
All right, Dick, thank you very much. And waiting for Learfan to move into the starting gate, the European. And Learfan, of course, that's a very confining and claustrophobic space in the starting gate for a horse. And quite honestly, some of them have a fear of that space, and so the assistant starters will do their best to calm down the horse, and the jockey will do his best. And we're having a real problem with Learfan. Now you can hear some of the assistant starters, I believe, talking back. Now Robin is out at the starting gate. Robin, what's going on?
Yes, Learfan's acting up a little bit out here, but we'll have to remember it's the first time he's raced in this country, so it's not familiar. Now he's in. Sometimes you just have to give them a little bit of time. They calm down.
And what the assistant starter did there, one of the tricks of the trade, he put a blindfold on Learfan. Couldn't see the gate, wasn't afraid of it. We're waiting for Prego and Royal Heroine. And there you see Prego. Of course, the silks will be exactly the same as Royal Heroine. They're both owned by Robert E. Sangster, who has spent millions and millions of dollars on thoroughbreds every year. He's trying to get a little bit back of it right now. They're in the gate. And they're off. Smart and Sharp is hustled out to get to the lead. Put to the whip, and Smart and Sharp dashes clear from the field by 2 lengths. And there goes Tsunami Slew now. He's up to dispute the early pace from second, and Cozine came away third on the outside. Star Choice toward the inside is fourth. Royal Heroine is now fifth on the outside. Tights is racing in sixth. Lear Fan on the outside now begins to move up from seventh. And it's Night Mover saving ground all the way, but he's back at 8th position, followed by Tons a Run, now 9th by 3, and Prego is the trailer as the field begins their run up the backstretch. Smart and Sharp breezing along with the 2.5 length lead. Tsunami Slew is giving chase. Cozine is poised for the final furlongs on the outside third as Star Choice moves through on the inside from fourth. There goes Lear Fan. He's gaining ground quickly on the outside from fifth. Quick fractions, 22 and 3 for the quarter, 45 and 3 for the half mile, and the field rounds the far turn. Here comes Tsunami Slew, and he bursts through between horses now. Tsunami Slew is up to take the short lead. Cozine is right at his neck, second on the outside. Smart and Sharp right there toward the inside is racing in third position. Star Choice behind the wall of horses is now racing in fourth. The filly Royal Heroine is making her run now on the outside, and Lear Fan has dropped back. They're coming to the final 16th of a mile. Royal Heroine sweeping to the lead from the outside. Cozine is now second. Tights is making a late run, and they're coming to the finish. Royal Heroine, a host of others closing in, but here's the wire, and Royal Heroine has won it. Royal Heroine under expert handling by the bull, Fernando Toro, another win on the Hollywood Park turf course.
Fernando Toro aboard Royal Heroine, the 4-year-old filly bred in Ireland, beating a field of 9 of the boys.
And beating them convincingly. We've had a course record yesterday. Sabine set the course record 1:32 and 2, and watch this one in the time of 1:32 and 3. A good trip for Royal Heroine, and beautifully handled. Cozine, the gray horse there. Oh, what a nice race. And here comes the Star Choice between horses, the 4 horse who's going to eventually get the place. But it's Royal Heroine who had to contend with John Henry in the Arlington Million. Didn't have John this afternoon. Had the boys, but beat him convincingly by about 2 1/4 lengths.
In an American record time, 1:32 and 3, Royal Heroine. Let's go to Sharon.
Well, Dick, Jim McKnight rode Star Choice to an excellent second-place finish. Really no match for the filly today, but the best of a pretty good bunch apart from her.
He ran a big race, and I was well pleased with the way he ran. He broke good and settled just off the pace and was able to save some ground. And when I eased him out in mid-stretch, he came on and he ran a big race. Just took a nice filly to beat him.
This turf course awfully fast. We had a record yesterday, another record today, 32 and 3. My gosh, is it that fast?
It's fast. It doesn't really feel that hard underneath a horse. It's just got a good spring to it. Good live course.
It's got to be a thrill for you, even second in a race of this stature. What a thrill.
First would have been better, but I'm satisfied anyway. As they say, second's better than third. So.
Well, congratulations to you, Jim. Let's go to Dick right now.
4 races, $4 million down, 3 races, and $6 more million to go. The Breeders' Cup Mile, won by Royal Heroine moments ago. The scene in the winner's circle, Michael J. Rorty, Executive Vice President of Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, and Brownell Combs, the second Vice President of the Breeders' Cup, presented the trophy to Robert Sangster, owner of Royal Heroine. With his reaction, let's go to Michael O'Hare.
Well, down here we have the big people of the big race, or that big race anyway. Robert Sangster. Robert, you get tired winning all these big races.
Never, Michael. I was second in the Australian Derby last week and third in the Melbourne Cup, so it was nice to win a race.
How come Royal Heroine was the main one of yours that was entered for the Breeders' Cup Series? You have a lot of good horses in Europe. Is there something behind this?
I think we were lucky, really. We foresaw that Leafior was standing in Japan and wouldn't be qualified for the Breeders' Cup. So Luca Comani, who had Ptolomeo, he and I got together and we put Lee Fior in the Breeders' Cup so that we could qualify for the race. Otherwise, she'd have been like Committed, who wasn't in the race.
In other words, you entered this one when the sire was way...
When the sire was in Japan. We paid the money to qualify the filly.
Ruff, over to you.
Yes, and Fernando Torres with us here. A wonderful race, Fernando, a real big winner. Tell us through it after the last turn, because that was when everyone was beginning to come tight.
I was a little bit concerned about when a horse moved on the outside of me, and I didn't want to move too soon, and I decided to stay right behind the leaders. At one point, that horse on the outside started to stop, and I give me the chance to get in the clear. And I knew right away after she got in the clear, she accelerated and she was gone.
An American record. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Royal Heroine, the winner. This Breeders' Cup is the brainchild of Kentucky horseman John Gaines. It's a remarkable concept, and Mr. Gaines and his associates in racing should be tremendously proud. Tom?
John, the first Breeders' Cup day is a reality. What were you trying to accomplish?
Well, Tom, the Irish have got a marvelous proverb. They say that the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a man. We're here to celebrate the beauty, the character, the indomitable courage, and the majesty of the thoroughbred with everyone who has eyes to see. The thoroughbred is the fastest animal in the world. He's man's oldest friend on earth, and 10,000 of my fellow breeders have put up their money, their time, their talents, their energies, their convictions for making the Breeders' Cup possible, and I want to thank them, and all of racing wants to thank them for starting a new tradition whereby the sport of kings will also become known as the king of sports.
Back at Hollywood Park, the Breeders' Cup Distaff. This is what the Breeders' Cup is all about. Here's number one in this, the fifth race. It's Miss Oceania. She's attained millionaire status. She's been trading victories with Life's Magic all along. We'll see what happens in this definitive contest this afternoon. Salt Spring is the two-horse, an Argentine-bred horse. Bill Shoemaker gets the riding assignment, but aiming very high here this afternoon with Salt Spring. Just 5 wins in 13 starts. Number 3 is Lucky, and Angel Cordero Jr. rides. This is one of the bench horses for Wayne Lucas. If one of the other ones is on the shelf, out comes Lucky, and to the winner's circle. Princess Rooney, the only question here is the distance. She has crushed her competition. She has 4 tremendous victories in her last 4 starts. Some people think that she is vulnerable here in this Distaff Cup, which is sponsored by Mobil Oil Corporation. And let's take a look at Life's Magic. This horse is simply sitting on a win again. Had most of September and October off. Bang-up victory in the Beldame, coming back to competition, and it's jockey Jorge Velasquez. Watch for Life's Magic to be sort of in the middle of the pack and to make that big run again. Next in line is Comedy Act, who tackles the very best here this afternoon. Been racing on the turf, but she can take her act anywhere, and Sandy Hawley is the competent rider. And completing the field is the Laz Barrera-trained Adored in the famous silks of Mrs. Ethel D. Jacobs, and carrying 123 pounds. Adored was 3rd behind Heatherton last out, and won the time before that in stakes competition at Saratoga.
And on the morning line, Dan, the bettors like the 4-horse Princess Rooney. 1-2 on the board at the moment. Let's see what Jack Klugman thinks about that. Pete?
Dick, it's about time Harvey and I got a celebrity. And it's no coincidence that we got Jack Klugman, because he is one of the few celebrities who's also a legitimate horse player, every bit as down and out as me and Harvey.
Harvey, you were going to say you couldn't find a celebrity, so you got me.
The only guy in South Philadelphia when you're young, the only difference now is you can bet a few bucks more.
That's right. I don't have to worry about losing. Not case money anymore. I don't have loan sharks chasing me anymore.
Tell the world, horse players never need a psychiatrist.
Absolutely not. They say that craziness comes from repressed anger. You holler at the horse, you holler at the jock, and you don't need anybody to holler about it. You know, look at this, I can't get a break. You yell at the world, at God, at the devil, at everybody.
That's what it is. It's a form of that. 4 hours.
So tired, you're too tired and too broke to be crazy.
Do you walk home?
Well, I used to walk home. I used to give myself a dime to get home in New York, to get that subway. I used to get, when it was a nickel and 2 cents, a penny for the peanuts and a penny for the chocolate, and mix it out and have a peanut chip.
Pete and I used to go to phone booths hoping somebody left a dime in there.
Back to Dick.
Next, a mile and a quarter run on the dirt. $1 million for the girls, 3 years or older. The odds, Dave.
Yeah, let's take a look, especially checking the odds for the two rivals, Miss Oceana and Life's Magic. Miss Oceana, 14-1. Boy, that's too high. Salt Spring is at 20. Lucky, Lucky, Lucky at 17. Princess Rooney, prohibitive favorite at 1-2. You bet 2, you win 1, you get 3 back. 5 horses, Life's Magic at 4. Comedy Act 35, and Adored is 4-1. Well, this is intense competition here. It is the Distaff Summit meeting of 1984. Tremendous rivalries, and let's take a look at the key horses in this contest.
The fillies and mares may just be the most exciting field of the entire day. 2 great rivalries. Take the 4-year-olds. My old friend Princess Rooney.
And Las Barreras Adored. Always tough out here in California.
I used to love Princess Rooney in Florida as a 2-year-old. Now she's just as good at 4 out in California, but I forgot it this day. There's Adored on the inside. I bet her in the exacta over the Princess. Harvey, it happened to me again. Forgetting was expensive.
What about this one, Life's Magic? Wayne Lucas, you think he's going to be shut out here? He's got this one. She's been running all year against Miss Oceana. These two fillies know each other so well, they sometimes chat on the way to the post.
And people think of Wayne as a strictly California trainer. He's got a powerful New York string now with son Jeff. This is the strongest in the string.
When Woody Stevens trains a filly, she means business. Miss Oceana's here. We may not like her, but the Woodman didn't fly across the country to get the free drinks.
She had a poor workout the other morning, was the talk of the backstretch. But as you say, when the Woodman's around, somebody usually gets chopped.
All 4 of them have something in common with us.
Always in the money. Harv? Okay, the picks here. Harv and I have both come to a consensus of Life's Magic.
And Klugman liked Adored and was delighted to hear we like Life's Magic.
We're happier. I'm happier myself to be on Liz Taylor's side. Stick with Life's Magic. Dick?
That's right. I think they were listening in. How about you, Dave Johnson?
How could I go against Life's Magic now with Axe and Elizabeth and Harvey? I got to take it, too.
And Princess Rooney, of course, the favorite of those who are making their wagers now at 3-5. The 4-horse Princess Rooney, Miss Oceana 11-1, Salt Spring 25-1. Another good price on Lucky, Lucky, Lucky at 21-1. There's your favorite, Princess Rooney. Life's Magic, the second choice at 7-2, along with Adored, the bottom horse, 7-2, and Comedy Act at 40-1. They'll be running a mile and a quarter for another $1 million purse. Let's go to Tom Durkin.
And this is Tom Hammond in the stable area, Dick, and no one has picked Princess Rooney, but trainer Neil Drysdale pointed out to us before he went to the paddock that in her last race, the Spinster Stakes at 1 1/8, she ran the last 1/8 of a mile in 12 seconds flat. She ran the last 1/8 faster than she ran the first 1/8, and that means the 1 1/4 distance probably will be to her liking today. I'll take Princess Rooney. Let's go upstairs now for the call of the race, and here's Tom Durkin.
Waiting for 2 more, waiting for Comedy Act and Adored. They're in the gate. And they're off. Princess Rooney is out fast, and Lucky, Lucky, Lucky is also right there for the early lead. Comedy Act, and farthest out from the rail, it's Adored. So 4 of them will vie for the lead as they race for the turn. Closest to the rail, it's Lucky, 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 and Princess Rooney is moving right with her. Adored is 3 wide as they race into the turn. Comedy Act angles to the inside now. She's 4th by 2.5 lengths. And Life's Magic is 5th on the outside. Salt Spring toward the rail is racing in 6th. And the early trailer is Miss Oceana as the field moves round the turn. The first quarter went in 23-3. Lucky, Lucky, Lucky is prompted by Princess Rooney on the outside, but they're both in no hurry yet. And they're stalked by Adored on the outside, 3rd by 2.5 lengths. And Comedy Act has settled into 4th. Then farther back, Life Magic racing in 5th. Salt Spring and Miss Oceana, 47-1. It's a comfortable pace as they continue up the backstretch. Now Princess Rooney is edging to the front. Lucky, Lucky, Lucky won't give up the lead. Those two hooked up early, and they're still going at it. And the tempo quickens as the field heads for the far turn. Lucky, Lucky, Lucky holding the lead by a neck. Princess Rooney right at her neck, 2nd by 2.5 lengths. Then farther back on the outside, Adored now, and she's put to a hard drive in 3rd. Comedy Act toward the inside is 4th. And here comes Life's Magic now, and she's making her move for the lead. But they're midway around the turn, and Princess Rooney
She has a head in front. Lucky, Lucky, Lucky is staying right with her. She's not through yet. Then farther back, it's Adored who swings to the outside third. And Life's Magic is set down for the stretch drive. But it is Princess Rooney who comes to the final furlong with a 2.5 length lead. Princess Rooney, Eddie De La Houssaye now goes to the whip. She's in front by 3 lengths. And then it's Life's Magic now second down the inside. Farther back, Adored is third. And they're coming to the final 16th. Princess Rooney in a romp. Here's the champion. Here's the wire. Princess Rooney, an absolute runaway winner. And jockey Eddie De La Houssaye brandishes his whip in a salute of victory. This is the best filly in the land, Princess Rooney. An awesome performance this afternoon.
No question about it. Princess Rooney galloping home.
This horse was never even asked to run until she came to the 8th pole. The fractions were quite slow early. They were really walking 23 and 3 and 47 and 1. At the head of the stretch, it looked like Life's Magic might have a shot, but when Eddie De La Houssaye asked the Princess to run, just forget it. She accelerated beyond belief. The final time was 2 minutes 2 and 2/5 seconds. Let's watch the action through the stretch. It's Lucky, Lucky, Lucky on the inside in the white blinkers. She had put up a game fight, too. She had slowed down the pace with Cordero aboard, trying to maybe steal it just a little bit. On the outside there, though, De La Houssaye has never asked his filly to run. Life's Magic is third, and I guess Velasquez is trying to decide whether to go inside or outside. It didn't make any difference at all. Adored did not have any speed at this point, and it's simply a coast home, a walk in the park for Princess Rooney, the gray filly by Verbatim. No contest here. I don't care what finish line they use. Princess Rooney is home in front. She's home to the Eclipse Award. And as Tom said, that's a real champion. So Princess Rooney notches her 5th straight victory and locks up the Eclipse Award.
Princess Rooney, the people's choice today, and it's official. $3.40 for the win, $2.60 and $2.20. The price is short. Life's Magic, $3.20 to place and $2.40 to show. Adored finished third and paid $2.60. Let's look at it again with Pete and Harvey.
Thank you, Dick. You know, we talked before the race. This is a little trip down memory lane for me, because when this filly was 2 in Florida and Jersey, she was so good. She was compared with Landalucy, the marvelous filly of Wayne Lucas's, who got the championship that year and died. Princess Rooney was also undefeated. Had some troubles last year, and trainer Neil Drysdale has brought her back brilliantly in this race. Angel's doing a pretty good job slowing down this pace, isn't he, Harv?
We've got a very good situation here. Lucky, Lucky, Lucky's being used as a stalking horse. Princess Rooney's right with her. This is a super performance.
Neil Drysdale has just joined us, who's done such a tremendous job with this filly. Neil, your thoughts here? Look very confident.
Well, I think we've got her one right here, without any doubt. And then she just drew off, and I think that's convincing enough to give her an Eclipse Award.
I would have to agree with that, Neil. Neil, is this her last race?
No decisions been made on that yet.
Neil, I have to ask you, I know she was such a brilliant 2-year-old, and last year she had some problems, came from the East Coast to the West. How did you bring her back to this wonderful form?
Well, we actually, she was sent out to the West Coast with the Breeders' Cup in mind, so the whole year has been to prepare for this one moment, and I'm glad that it worked out well.
And we've also been monitoring the race between the 3 top jockeys in earnings, and this is updated after 5 races today. Chris McCarron had taken the lead and still holds it. He's at $10,138,000 in earnings this year. Lafitte Pincaille, who started the day in first place, $9,936,000. Angel Cordero at $9.4 million. But don't forget, we have $1 million to the winner coming up in this race, and then $1.5 million to first place in the featured 7th race. So it's still wide open. Let's go to Michael O'Hare.
Well, you know, this upcoming race is one where we should really come into it. I know I said that before, but hope springs eternal. 1.5 miles on the turf, and a race that's dominated, we think anyway, by the non-American horses, particularly Strawberry Road and All Along. Strawberry Road, who comes all the way from Australia, ran in the Arc, went too soon, ran in the Washington International, came too late. So this time, maybe Willie Shoemaker will have his stopwatch working, and he'll come at the right time.
The ground might be a bit firm for him too, Michael, but he is the best Australian horse to come up here since Phar Lap. The other deal, about him and indeed about All Along. It's not so much that they're not used to this sort of rhythm of racing like Leofan in the last turf race, but really they might just be travel weary, because All Along has been all over the place. She went from France to New York, back to France, back to Canada, then to New York, back over here. They've been all over the place, and she just might be leg weary, so might be Strawberry Road. But if they're on their form, they'll be first and second. Back to Dick.
John Forsythe's one of our favorite people. You enjoying yourself today?
Well, I think this is the most extraordinary day in the whole history of racing. And for me, having been in on the right from practically the inception, I think it's a fantastic experience.
What attracts you to the thoroughbred animal?
Well, first of all, the horse itself is such a magnificent animal. Noble, beautiful, courageous. Second of all, racing itself is such a wonderful thing. It's such a release for me to be able to leave my business, which is, as you know, stressful, and to come out here and wager a couple of bucks on a race like this and root at home, and then to breed the horses and get them on the racetrack. Well, that's like having children and seeing them in the Olympics. You know.
I was peeking here, just in case you're wondering. He likes the Bill Shoemaker mount, Strawberry Road, number 4 in the next race. Thank you,
Are we
John.
going to lose you now?
No, we're going back to
we need
work.
you in football.
Here they are for the 6th race, the mile-and-a-half race on the turf. $2 million the purse money. We start with an entry from the Darrell Viana barn. Rami is number 1. Fernando Toro rides. This is a tough, regular horse with a lot of late speed. 1A, Morcon. This horse, well, had a very good spring, but not too much of late. And I would have to backpedal on this one. And that's Chris McCarron aboard, though. Alpha Betum is a possible long shot, a horse that was ranked last out, forced the pace, but watch for this horse not to be so close up today. Greville Starkey rides. Number 3, Lashkari, a winner by 5 lengths last out. Yves Saint-Martin in from France for the riding assignment. Won by 5, by the way, in it was a big race last out. Brilliant in France earlier this year. Here's Strawberry Road. That's Bill Shoemaker sitting atop, and putting Shoemaker on this horse is like giving him a head start. This is like a modern-day Far Lap, a real good horse, professional racehorse. Here's Persian Tiara, maybe a bit of a hunch play here because this race is sponsored by De Beers Consolidated Mines. So if that's a Diamond Tiara, maybe you want to put it on the long shot Persian Tiara. Maybe you want to put it on the favorite. In any event, this horse won by 3 lengths with Eddie Maple, but that was on a lesser circuit. Much tougher competition here today. 6, Seattle Song has been scratched. Here's Who's for Dinner, and this horse might be just sitting in the right place at the right time. There's not too much speed in this race, a lot of international flavor to it, but they're not going to go out there and scorch an early pace, although he was a very bang-up second to John Henry in the Valentines 2 outs ago and was a winner last out at Belmont Park on the turf. Here's All Along. It's the last time you're going to see her on the track. It's her last race. Now, she was sweaty in the paddock at Canada. She doesn't look to be in any bad shape at all here. She was Horse of the Year last year. A lot of questions asked of her. She's been asked a lot, but she's always come through. And here's Gato del Sol, a winner of the 82 Kentucky Derby. The big gray one-run son of a gun will be back early. That might be against him, but the distance certainly suits. Majesty's Prince prefers off-going. It's firm over there today, but he's a steady earner, and he was my bad luck horse of the year in '83. Maybe now with $2 million purses, he can redeem himself for all those lost encounters. And Trey Ziem, filly, good early in '84, but she simply lost her form, and I'd be very, very surprised if Sandy Hawley would bring this one back today. 11 of the 8 have run in Europe. A great international race for the fans here in the United States at 1.5 miles on the turf.
Well, Pete Axhelm, he's been red hot. Had Princess Rooney, another winner in the last race. Let's see how he and Harvey look at this $2 million Breeders' Cup Turf Special.
Harv, looking at these odds, Rami and Morcon, the entry are 13-1. Alpha Betum, who looks very good leaving the paddock, is 30-1.
Persian Tiara, 30-1.
Lashkari, number 3, is 45-1. Strawberry Road, the horse that you were looking at for a bad trip he had, he's 5-1. And Persian Tiara, I think, is the overlay of the day, trained by Adrian Maxwell. Anytime you get Adrian at 30-1, you're getting a bargain.
I think we got a lot of overlays in here between the entry. Alpha Betum is an overlay. I think Strawberry Road at 5, Persian Tiara. They're overbetting Majesty's Prince. I like this horse, but I think 8-5 is short.
Running down some of the other. Who's for Dinner? Promising at 24-1. All Along, 4-1. Gato del Sol, 5-1 is the underlay of the day. Majesty's Prince, as you mentioned, 8-5, and another underlay. Treziem at 8-1. Dick?
All right, gentlemen, and just for you sentimentalists, the 4-horse Strawberry Road, ridden by the Hall of Famer Bill Shoemaker, perhaps his best shot at a win today. They're here from all corners, including Dallas, well represented. Larry Hagman, 3-year-olds and up on the turf. Oh, this is going to be a race. Come by the main stands twice for $2 million, and the current favorite is Majesty's Prince and Lafitte Pinkai. Getting ready for the 1.5 miles on the turf, and 1A Morcon from Great Britain, ridden by Chris McCarron. He's earned over $403,000, or at least his mounts today, although a non-winner, and he now has broken Angel Cordero's record, most earnings in a season, well over $10 million. They're getting ready, 12 horses about to load up, and let's take a look at the favorites. Here's Pete.
Majesty's Prince, trained by Joe Canty, one of the turf specialists in America. 11 wins, almost $2 million. Recently, up in Canada, the Rothman International. Under Lafitte Pinkai, he splits horses, comes down the stretch, one of his better races. He's going to win it by 2 lengths. He has to be considered a contender here today.
I used to say he just likes it soft. He's shown much more versatility this year. All along, they used to call her the horse of the world. Now they call her a mare looking for her first win of the year. But oddly, she's shown flashes of form. The former French champion who won the Arc de Triomphe last year isn't looking at any Arc de Triomphe horses here, nor is she seeing John Henry. This might be a field that All Along can handle. And for fans of jockey switches, how would you like young Walter Swinburne to Angel Cordero?
And speaking of jockey switches, here's a horse from Australia with the right credentials. He ran in the DC International with his jockey from there, G. Moore. You'll see him in green now, coming out of the pack to finish 3rd. They say he had all the trouble on the backstretch. He's going to run 3rd here. He's getting a jockey switch, too. You may have heard of him, Bill Shoemaker.
Because of the international flavor of this race, we brought the whole cast in here. I think it's only fair to start with Bruff. After all, he loved Lear Fan.
Lear Fan, he's still running, but he just couldn't adapt. But we know All Along could adapt. The joke of this race, if 2 races ago you told All Along with 4-1, you laugh. It'd be a certainty. And I think she may well. She's very calm in the paddock. She might be back, and she'll win.
Well, Strawberry Road was the one that I fancied All Along, but I agree with you. All Along looks terrific. I go along still with Strawberry Road, but if there's a long shot, Persian Tiara.
I'm going to go with Strawberry Road because of the jockey switch, the rough trip, and because Bill Shoemaker's been riding winners as long as I've been picking losers.
And Bill Shoemaker is a very old rider. I like All Along on top, but as I mentioned when we were looking over the odds, Persian Tiara is a very, very tempting long shot. Dick?
All right, Pete, and All Along at 7-2, not a bad price. Surprisingly, the 10-horse Majesty's Prince at 8-5 is the current favorite, Dave.
And quite low. I guess with Pinkai here and that big win up in Canada, maybe they don't know that he doesn't run as fast on a harder racetrack. And that second price on All Along, the second favorite, is a good one. I also like Strawberry Road at 5, but let's check them all. Rami and Morcon at 13, Alpha Beta at 25, Lashkari is at 50, Strawberry Road holds at 5. Persian Tiara, big 25-1. Seattle Song, the 6, has been scratched. Who's for Dinner, big price 22. All Along is 3-1. Gato del Sol, watch for him to be running late. He's at 6. The 8-5, maybe false favorite, is Majesty's Prince, and Treizième at 12.
They should be loading Strawberry Road, and we'd all might be a bit guilty of rooting for Bill Shoemaker, the all-time winningest jockey. 8,405 wins, 906 stakes, 201 100 granders for Shoemaker, who's on number 4 Strawberry Road. Here's Tom Durkin.
All right, thank you very much, Dick Enberg. Who's for Dinner moving into the starting gate, going off at a long price here this afternoon. Alpha Beta, the number 2 horse, who should have been loaded first, is circling behind the gate now. They'll probably load that one with just 1 or 2 horses to go in the gate. He may be a bad actor of sorts. All Along is in, and there goes Morcon. And the big gray former Kentucky Derby winner, I guess he still is a Kentucky Derby winner, Gato del Sol. He's behind the starting gate. Majesty's Prince and Treizième as well. Majesty's Prince, a horse, the book on this one is that he likes a soft course. This is one of the hardest turf courses on the North American continent, and he will be really tested on this course today. Now we've got 2 back, waiting for Alpha Beta and Treizième. We can expect Alpha Beta to be out quickly. Now Treizième is in. They're in the gate.
Hey, look at John, y'all wait on. Relax, boys. Just relax on these horses. I'll let you know.
There's some problem out on the gate. I could hear the starter say, boys, relax. There was some problem. Now the outrider is going up the turf course, and there's an individual on the track about 1/8 of a mile from the finish. He's shooing him off. I don't know what that joker was doing out there. Now he's off the track. I guess we're ready for a start. Waiting for the start. Now the turf course is clear. We should be ready for a start. Starter Tucker Slender here at Hollywood Park. He says, all right, boys, let's go. Looks like we're ready to go. And the Breeders' turf. And they're off. And Trazium shows first. And there goes Strawberry Road. Strawberry Road now is up to take the early lead. Trazium came away second on the outside. Who's for Dinner is racing in third. Morcon between horses fourth. Alpha Batum came away a close fifth toward the inside. Lashkari is now racing sixth. All Along is seventh, and Majesty's Prince is eighth on the outside. He's just about 5 lengths off the lead. Persian Tierra is ninth and beginning to move through toward the inside. The early trailers are Gato del Sol and Rami as they round the turn for the first time. Strawberry Road breezing along with the lead by 1.5 lengths. Here comes Morcon now up to dispute the pace from the outside. Alpha Batum is tucked in along the rail in third position. Who's for Dinner angles to the outside fourth. Trazium under a snug hold now fifth. All Along is also in hand, and Cheese moves through between horses from sixth. Lashkari is tucked at the inside with nowhere to go in seventh. Majesty's Prince is eighth in between horses. And on the outside is Gato del Sol now racing ninth. Persian Tierra is second to last. And Rami continues to trail the field as they enter the second turn. Strawberry Road still bounding along with the lead. Shoemaker has this one on top by 1.5 lengths. Morcon is still giving chase, and Alpha Batum saving every bit of ground is still third toward the inside. Here comes All Along now, and she's making a run for the lead. Who's for Dinner is put to a hard drive. Then Trazium right there, sixth on the outside, and toward the inside it's Lashkari. Then farther back, Rami begins to launch his bid from the back of the pack, and Majesty's Prince is second to last as the field enters the final turn. It's still Strawberry Road. He's been in front every step of the way, and there goes the mare, All Along, making her run for the lead as they enter the far turn. All Along on the outside, surges to the front now. She's in front by a 1/2 length. Strawberry Road is all out to keep up with her. Rami, who was last down the backstretch, will swing wide for the drive. Lashkari is also right there. Alpha Batum toward the inside. They're coming to the final furlong. All Along is put to the test. Strawberry Road toward the inside. Lashkari is right at her neck. Rami on the outside. Here comes Lashkari. All Along digging in. They're coming to the wire. Lashkari getting up in the final strides. It is Lashkari and an upset winner here. Yves St. Martin aboard the winner, edging out All Along, who ran a game race herself.
50-1, Lashkari on the board. Who had won only $56,000, the least money won in the entire field. Get that again, $56,000 won in 7 previous races and has just earned $1 million unofficially. The photo sign is up.
And another word in handicapping is improving. And this is an improving European horse who's been working brilliantly in France. Yves St. Martin, a brilliant rider himself, and the 3-year-old by Mill Reef just angled out and passed them all. The magic little hands of Bill Shoemaker had Strawberry Road on the front as long as he could go. All Along, the great mare. It looked like a winner to me at this point, but here comes Yves St. Martin with Lashkari, the horse who was bred in Great Britain, 3 out from the rail. Rami has no speed at all late, but watch the finish and watch Lashkari, who was 50-1 in the final blink of the odds, beat the mare in the final few strides. All Along with Cordero finishing second in a very exciting contest.
Not official yet, but boy, there have to be some hearts and some throats, because Lashkari for a $2 ticket will pay more than $100. All Along, well, the top choice is second, Rami third, Strawberry Road is fourth. By the way, All Along, by finishing second, earns $450,000. Now the number 2 winning horse all time to John Henry. Let's go to Pete.
Angel Cordero. $1 million for second money, not too bad. I know you're waiting for the big one now. You're going to be in a rush, but tell us a little bit about this mare and how this race went.
This mare is very good mare. The pace was a little too slow for her, and I could not keep him behind the horses no longer. They was walking. The grass is very fast. You could see the way they run the mile. And,
we have a replay here, and here she is coming up on the outside.
She made the lead very, very easy, but it was really no pace in the race. And when she made the lead, she kind of lost for a little bit, but the winner, I don't want to take nothing away from him. He was running the last part, and he just outrun in the last part, but she ran a beautiful race. She's a wonderful filly. I'm so glad I rode him.
I know you were trying to get them out for about a year, weren't you? Tell that story.
Yeah, well, I dreamed that I rode him before she won the ARC last year, and I've been trying to ride him for a long, long time. And I'm sorry she didn't win, but she ran a hell of a big race, and she tried, and I'm proud of her.
I know you should be, and I know you're even more proud of your next assignment on Slew of Gold. Go ahead. And Sharon Smith is standing by with another of our America's champion jockeys, Lafitte Pincay.
Well, Lafitte, your horse, although favored, didn't run very well. Trouble with the course, what was the problem?
I really don't know. It seems like he was running very nice the first part of the race, but I think they were going so slow that when he made his move, he was coming strong, but the horses didn't stop. You know, they kept on going. So, and I wish it would have been faster pace, but.
The riders have told us that although the track's obviously pretty hard and fast, that it didn't feel hard. Now, this is a horse that normally doesn't like a hard course, so could that have been part of the problem?
Well, the track is a little bit, it's not as hard as some other track in the country. And, but I think what bothered this horse today was the pace, very slow.
Well, Lafitte, you got a live one in the next one, Gate Dancer, so we'll see how you do there, and thanks a lot. Oh, let's go back now to Dick and Dave.
And there's the good news for those who backed Lashkari, the 3-horse, $108.80 to win, $33.40 to play, $16 to show all along, $5.80 and $4.40. Rami, part of the entry, $7.40 for show. Strawberry Road was fourth. Feast or famine, that's the story today at the Breeders' Cup.
Get ready. We're just minutes away from the richest race in the history of the world. $3 million on the finish line, which will be 1.25 miles after the start. Let's take a look at the field. Here's number 1, Mugati, a late jockey change. We're going to put Terry Lippem on instead of Cash Asmussen. This is a horse who is sort of like a rabbit for Slew of Gold. He has a lot of talent himself, but we're all sort of convinced that this horse is in there to ensure a fast pace. And here is Slew of Gold in peak form, solid class credentials, the only horse to win the Fall Championship Series in New York. He got $1 million for that. I say he's in peak form except for that hoof, but they assure us, the Slew crew does, that it's okay. So let's see if he's okay this afternoon. Here's number 2, Wild again. Snapped back to life in the Meadowlands Cup. A surprise victory there. Third last out, upstate California. A long shot. Wild again gets the services of Pat Day. Canadian Factor is one of the long shots in the field. Closed a ton of ground to finish second to Wild again in the Meadowlands Cup, but he's aiming very high today, and Jorge Velazquez gets the riding assignment on Canadian Factor, wearing the light blue blinkers there. Next is Track Baron. Misspelled by a secretary, by the way, when they were naming this colt, but that's how it looks. B-A-R-R-O-N. Leroy Jolly trains. Eddie Maple is the rider, and this horse had finished 4th behind Cardenasker in the Travers, then 2nd in the Jerome, and a winner at the Vosburg at 7 furlongs. And next, Gate Dancer. Jay Privman of the Daily News out here in Los Angeles pointed out that when his races are spaced apart, he runs his best, and he's running very, very well right now. He is he's just taken his class act on the road with lots of victories, and look at those earmuffs to keep out the noise of the crowd as they cheer him, I guess, through the stretch. Precisionist, lots and lots of zip, bounces along in the front end. Let anybody try and come up and catch him, and I think you'll see that they just can't. He's got tremendous early speed. Whether he can last that 1.25 miles is the question. And Desert Wine, if the wine flows, it's vintage, and like wine, this horse improves with age. He's back here again today after a disappointing finish in the Budweiser Million, but he's back here on the dirt, and that's where he likes to race the bets. And Eddie De La Houssaye gets the riding assignment for Desert Wine. And of course, let's see if any of them are as speedy as the Chrysler. This race sponsored by Chrysler Corporation of Chrysler Plymouth Division.
And there it is, 1.25 miles. It'll start, come by once, and race for $3 million, $1.5 million. to the winner, the richest race ever, the culmination of a marvelous day at Hollywood Park, the Breeders' Cup Classic, living up to all of the pre-race and pre-day billing. We've had the share of the odds-on favorites winning. Princess Rooney, of course, winning by 7 lengths, the biggest victory, and some big surprises as well. And here, the morning line for $3 million.
4 to 5 for Muggety and Slew of Gold. Wild again and Canadian Factor start at 30. Track Baron at 6. Gate Dancer 4.5. Precisionist and Desert Wine both at 5 to 1. And the odds here are holding pretty much close to that starting point.
There's Cary Grant talking with Marge Everett, the chief operating officer of Hollywood Park, and what a job she's done in whipping this place in order. She, in less than a year, has added that 12,500 seat pavilion, the track in perfect order. John Gaines has done a great job, the leader of this Breeders' Cup, and we're getting ready for Slew of Gold and Challengers.
Slew of Gold, he's our superstar for today. He's done everything a horse could do. He's won the Marlboro, the Woodward, the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Here he is with Cordero aboard. He's the best.
And courage to match his speed. He does it on cracked and brittle feet. Just this week, yet another crisis. Can he keep it up? We'll find out in a few minutes. The main rival, Gate Dancer. If this horse was a human, he would be a neurotic, going to a shrink every week to solve his problems. He wears earmuffs to keep out his distractions, blinkers, shadow roll, and most of all, he needs to remember his medication. His shrink is trainer Jack Vanberg. His medication Lasix. Together, they make him tough.
And who likes the local rules better than Desert Wine?
Yes, he has his breathing problems. He needs his Lasix, but when he's right, he can seize the lead, push the other speed horses. There's plenty of speed in this race, and he and Precisionist will probably ensure the late runners of a good, fast, honest pace.
The 3-year-old Track Baron, trained by Leroy Jolly. This is the one the fans should be watching. At the Whitney in Saratoga, look at this humiliation. The horse is saying to Slew of Gold, don't make me run against you again. Please, not again. But he's here today. Did Leroy Jolly know something?
Gate Dancer was actually invented to make life easy for guys like Tom Durkin. With that hood, Tom, you won't be able to blow this call, and I personally think Gate Dancer won't be able to blow this race. I like him in an upset.
What? How dare you? Slew of Gold, I came across, I've lived with this horse for 5 races. I've seen him run against everything. He's got a little butte. He's got a bad hoof. If it holds up, he better win this race.
Harv, 3 to 5 isn't going to help you at this point in the day.
Can't pay the mortgage on it, but I can root for him.
Back to you, Dick.
Retired after this $3 million experience. Slew of Gold, indeed, part of the entry, the 3 to 5 favorite on the board.
And 3 to 5, a lot of folks don't like to bet. I tried to get Jeff Siegel to talk me onto something. Handicapper and syndicated columnist. He said, how can you beat him? He's just too good. And Slew of Gold is coupled in the wagering with Muggety. 3 to 5, the prohibitive favorites here. Wild again at 25. Canadian Factor is the longest price on the board at 60. Track Baron at 24. Gate Dancer getting some support. 3 to 1. Precisionist at 7 and Desert Wine 5.
They approach the gate. $3 million at stake. They began racing here 90 years ago in 1894. This track has seen the likes of Man of War and Kelso, Sword Dancer, Buck Passer, Dr. Fager, and Secretariat. And the winner this afternoon of this race will join that fast company.
And you don't need a bet on this race to enjoy it. I'm just sitting here. I can't wait for that starting gate to open up and the crowd to yell and come through the stretch. It's at 1.25 miles, the American Classic distance. And if you love sport, you gotta be waiting for the next 2 minutes.
That's what you said at the start today, Dave Johnson. This is the World Series, the Super Bowl, Wimbledon, the Breeders' Cup Classic, the richest race ever. Slew of Gold in his final run is the odds-on favorite, and the man who has the honor of calling the excitement of this classic is Tom Durkin.
Thank you, Dick Enberg. We have 2 more to go. Waiting for Precisionist and Desert Wine. And Pete Axtell was right. Gate Dancer is unmistakable with that cowl about his head. They're in the gate, and they're off in the Breeders' Cup Classic in Muggety. He's put right to the whip from the gate. Up to take the lead. He's bearing out now as they pass the stands the first time. Here's Precisionist to join him, and in between horses, it's Wild again. 2 lengths back to Desert Wine. He's settled into 4th. And the big horse, Slew of Gold, is off the rail, and he's racing 5th by 4 lengths. Track Baron is now racing in 6th. Canadian Factor toward the inside. Gate Dancer is the trailer. He's about 12 lengths off the lead. We've got a 3-ply battle for the lead around the turn. And Wild again emerges with the lead. Precisionist on the outside. Muggety toward the rail. The first quarter, a snappy 22 3/5 seconds. They enter the backstretch. Wild again battles it out and takes the lead now by 3/4 of a length to half and 45 3. Precisionist pressures the pacemaker from the outside. Toward the inside, it's Muggety now. He's dropped back third, a gap of 4 lengths to Desert Wine Racing in fourth. Slew of Gold is still fifth. He's settled into 5th place now, and he's beginning to move up on the outside, a gap of 4 to Track Baron. Gate Dancer is second to last with a half a mile to run, and Canadian Factor is far behind as the field heads for the far turn. 3/4 in 1:10 3, and Slew of Gold now. He's charging on the outside up to engage the leader. Wild again. It's Wild again with the lead. Slew of Gold. Cordero aboard at Tex now with 3 furlongs to go. Those two are matching stride for stride. Here comes Track Baron. He's putting in his run. And Gate Dancer, he's in full stride now. And he swings wide for the final quarter mile. On the inside, Wild again is game, and he's holding on to the lead by a head. Slew of Gold is right at his neck. Here comes Gate Dancer on the outside there in the final furlong. Wild again, desperately holding on to the lead. Slew of Gold is right there in between horses. Gate Dancer on the outside. What a finish. Wild again. Gate Dancer, Slew of Gold in between them. Those three in a dramatic finish. And here's the wire. Wild again does it. I believe it was Wild again, an upset winner. Gate Dancer was right there. Really was a bit too close to call. But the big horse, Slew of Gold, was defeated today. He was third.
What a way to conclude racing's greatest day ever in a battle for first place and $1.5 million with it. 3 horses fighting to get that nose on the wire first. Was it that Wild again, number 2, the dark horse, that Cinderella
the mystery horse, or was it Slew of Gold between horses, who I think not, but might have had a little trouble through the stretch, or was it the Hooded Wonder on the outside? Gate Dancer with Lafitte Pinkai Jr. Watch this final quarter mile. Wild again, who had set those zippy fractions, and none of us expected him to be there as they turned for home. The mile was in 37, and as you can see, Pat Day is urging this horse on. Cordero probably thought he was going to pass him easily. Here comes Gate Dancer on the outside, and down the stretch they come. Watch this ding-dong match to the final finish line. Looks like Cordero is looking for racing room there. Not saying anything went on through the stretch drive, but let's watch it. We're less than a furlong to the finish. Wild again on the inside, trying to hang on. Took the shortest way in that 1.25 miles, right on the rail. On the outside, Gate Dancer with Pinkai, and between them, the eventual 3 to 5 public choice. And here comes the wire, and here comes the finish at one of the most dramatic races that I have ever watched in my life. Wild again, Gate Dancer, and a standing-up Cordero on Slew of Gold.
And it did look like
Harvey,
Wild
I'm not
again.
Sure we won't have another dispute here on our hands.
Inquiry is on the board.
Angel between horses on Slew of Gold. The winner, Wild again, appears to be coming out a bit. Gate Dancer in the hood on the outside. We'll see if he comes in. Pinkai's whipping him left-handed, trying to keep him out. Angel's looking at Wild again. Wild again is coming out again. Now Slew of Gold bumps out into Gate Dancer. Slew of Gold is a bowling ball in there.
This is what it should be. This is the big race. Nobody's giving any quarter. They are bumping constantly right through the stretch. The horse on the inside ran absolutely the most remarkable race, but a slower race than Princess Rooney's.
That's right, it was slower, but maybe you have to go a little slower when you're running like a bunch of bowling balls down here. Look at Angel, usually the man who controls these kind of finishes, the man, the intimidator who likes to get somebody else in this spot. Now Gate Dancer's coming in again. Wild again veers out. Angel has to stand up right near the wire. I am almost sure we're going to have a beef in this one.
Wild again definitely came out on that field.
Almost definite. The Wild again will have an inquiry. Certainly. A fitting ending, high excitement and controversy. We've heard from both jockeys who are sandwiching Angel Cordero and Slew of Gold. Pat?
But the last 8 to the mile, he just got bounced around both sides. The inside horse kept going out, and then the second horse started coming in at the end. And we made a lot of contact, and I could do nothing about it. He was just bouncing around back and forth. Thank you, sir.
That is true. Thank you.
His owners William Allen, a Texan. They're known for spending their money. $360,000 supplemental fee to get that horse in the race. Will he win it? Let's go to Tom Hammond.
We're in the paddock. We have Pat Day, who rode Wild again with us. Pat, you were on the rail. How did you see the inquiry? What did you tell the stewards?
Well, my horse was one to drift most all the way. He was hanging on his left rein pretty good. Down the stretch, I don't believe my horse drifted out that much as the outside horse was drifting in. And I know Slew Gold was in pretty tight down there late. But I tell you the truth, Slew Gold didn't want to run by my horse. He didn't seem to be very willing to run today. Probably that problem with his foot was cropping up a little bit. I don't know, but he come to me at the 5/16 pole and had every opportunity to run by me from there to the wire, and just couldn't do it. My horse ran off a game race. The stewards will decide, I guess, just exactly what happened, but I don't believe my horse come out as much as the outside horse come in.
You went right to the front. He seemed to relax for you because you had plenty left.
Well, that wasn't really the game plan. There appeared to be plenty of speed in the race, and this horse has run some real bang-up races for me coming from off the pace. When he was anxious going in the first turn, I just went ahead and let him run on, dropped his head, and he relaxed very kind and just run a real game, courageous race down the stretch.
That's Pat Day. He's sweating out the inquiry along with the owners, Ron and Dolores Volkman. Here's Bill Allen behind us. You told me in the stable area you thought you would win. The inquiry is up, but you were under the line first.
It's close. We're happy with him, 100%.
All right, that's the story down here from the winner's circle. Everybody waiting for the stewards to make their decision. Back to Dick.
All right, Tom, another look from Dave Johnson's view.
And Pat Day did a marvelous job of riding this race, getting this horse to the front. I believe that Slew Gold was a beaten horse before this incident happened. On the outside, the question is whether Gate Dancer came in. The stewards are looking at it from various angles of videotape. Look at Wild again. With his head to the right-hand side. The question is in the hands of the three stewards. They are competent and they will make their decision. But boy, what a decision they got to make here. Whether to take this horse down and place him third, whether to leave it alone, whether to move him all around. Wow.
Here is what is at stake. First place in this race is worth $1,350,000. Second place $675,000, and third $324,000.
I don't think anybody imagined that we would end up with a Breeders' Cup opening day quite like this and finish it off with quite a race like this. What a finish, what a day. I'll tell you, if I was down in the winner's circle now and I own one of these horses, I'd try and save, as we say, get it together and say, hey, let's put our purse together and split it up no matter what they do.
You know, one of the wonderful parts, and what a fitting clown, we talked about Hollywood and the motion picture view toward thoroughbred racing. And in a way, they must have had Wild again in mind. Here's a horse, everyone said, what's he doing here? 30-1, you're going to pay $360,000 just to have the honor of running here, and you have no chance. And here he is in a fight to win almost $1.5 million. Let's go down to Pete.
Dick, at the very top of this show, we told fans a little bit about the fun and the excitement of a day at the races. You know, I don't think we have to say one more word, and here's the decision coming now.
That for interference in the stretch, number 5, Gate Dancer, who finished second, has been disqualified.
Gate Dancer comes down. They rule that Gate Dancer came in more than what Wild again came out. Harv, what do you think?
That's quite a decision. I don't envy them. It's exciting to have watched it. Absolutely unbelievable.
Let's go to Tom Hammond with the happy winners.
Pat Day, give us that cheer again.
Hallelujah. Hello, Mom and Dad and everybody else out there.
You sweated it out. The stewards evidently ruled that you did not come out. Were you pretty confident that you would be left up?
Well, I left it in the hands of the stewards, and I feel like they made the right decision. Like I told you earlier, my horse was wanting to drift most all the way, but I didn't think that it was enough to alter the outcome of the race. Obviously, the stewards felt the same way, and I'm very happy with their decision.
Pat, you led the nation in number of wins the last 2 years, but you've been content mostly to ride in obscurity in the Midwest. This has to be the biggest day of your life.
Oh, by far, by far. Excuse me, sir, I got to speak to clerk scale. Excuse me.
All right, that's the winning jockey, Pat Day. Now back to Dick Enberg.
All right, and it's now official, and what a story. Wild again caps this remarkable day at Hollywood Park, winning the $3 million Breeders' Cup Classic, a long shot at 30-1. It completes a day where we had 3 favorites who came through for their supporters: Chief's Crown, Eillo, and Princess Rooney. The filly Royal Heroine, long shots outstandingly, Lashkari, and Wild again. And indeed, that's the kind of day it was this November afternoon in Southern California. For all of us at NBC Sports, this is Dick Enberg. Thank you for being part of the inaugural Breeders' Cup Classic. We have time reviewing again again, the winners today. Chief's Crown, outstandingly. Eillo, Royal Heroine, Princess Rooney, Lashkari, and Wild again, beating the favorites, Slew of Gold in the Classic Final. And so we bid farewell from Hollywood Park. This is the largest sports television production ever for NBC Sports, more than a Super Bowl or a World Series. And our thanks to all the men and women who brought you those wonderful pictures of those incredible animals. The equine, beautiful, elegant, courageous, the fighting spirit, very much on display again here in the Breeders' Cup Day, and the Classic culminating an incredible afternoon before thousands of fans here and around the world. So in the tradition of the citations, secretariats, and Seattle Slews, the evolution continues. We salute today's champions. And in just a few months, in the solitude of an early winter morn, the cycle will start anew. Repeating centuries of that inevitable first-day struggle to stand, walk, run, race. A magnificent new life carrying a breeder's mightiest hopes.